The key snapped in the lock as I stood on my own front porch, watching through the windows of my inherited Victorian home as my cousin Victoria Rodriguez hosted what appeared to be a family reunion in my living room, complete with my grandmother's china displayed on tables that had been rearranged to accommodate 20 relatives who were laughing and celebrating, while I remained locked out of the house that had been legally mine for 8 months. "Oh, Alex is here," Victoria announced through the window with a patronizing smile as she noticed me struggling with the lock, her voice carrying the false warmth of someone who had systematically planned this humiliation while surrounded by aunts, uncles, and cousins who believed they were attending a legitimate family gathering rather than witnessing the culmination of months of property theft and family manipulation. I remained perfectly composed on the porch, maintaining the calm expression of someone who was mildly inconvenienced rather than devastated, while processing the reality that Victoria had changed the locks on my property and was now entertaining our extended family, as if she were the rightful owner of the home that grandmother had left specifically to me in her will. The scene through the windows revealed that Victoria had not only occupied my house but had also moved in her furniture, hung her artwork on the walls, and transformed the space into what appeared to be her permanent residence, while presenting herself to the family as the new matriarch, who had taken responsibility for maintaining grandmother's legacy and family gathering traditions. "Victoria, I think there's been some confusion about the door locks," I called through the window with deliberate calm that made several family members turn to look at me with puzzled expressions, their faces revealing growing awareness that something more complex than a simple lockout was occurring on what they had assumed was Victoria's property. "Victoria, I think there's been some confusion about the door locks." The understated observation that masked the systematic property theft, while signaling to observant family members that the situation involved more than mechanical malfunction or forgotten keys, creating the first crack in Victoria's carefully constructed narrative. But as I stood on the porch that I had painted just 3 months earlier, watching my cousin play hostess in my dining room while wearing grandmother's jewelry and serving food from my kitchen, I felt my phone vibrate with a text message that would transform this moment of apparent defeat into the beginning of Victoria's comprehensive legal reckoning. "Sheriff's deputies are 5 minutes out. All documentation ready. Property recovery and trespass charges will be filed immediately. Attorney Patricia Martinez." The message brought a quiet smile to my face that made Victoria pause her animated storytelling, her confident expression flickering with confusion as she realized that my unexpected composure suggested knowledge and preparation that contradicted her assumption about my helplessness in the face of her systematic property appropriation. "Actually, Victoria," I said quietly while maintaining eye contact through the window, "I suppose that settles the question of whether some people think ownership is about who has the keys or who actually has the deed." The quote hung in the afternoon air like a legal summons. Inside the house, family members exchanged glances that revealed their growing understanding that they were witnessing something far more serious than a family property dispute or misunderstanding about house access and gathering permissions. What Victoria didn't know as she basked in her role as the new family matriarch was that I had discovered her systematic plan to steal my house 6 weeks ago, and I had spent that time not arguing with family members or begging for access, but quietly working with attorneys, sheriff's deputies, and housing authorities to ensure that her illegal occupation would result in criminal charges, civil penalties, and public eviction that would expose her manipulation to the entire extended family. The family gathering she had orchestrated to celebrate her conquest of my property was about to become the stage for her arrest and the public vindication of legitimate property rights that she had systematically violated through fraud, manipulation, and illegal occupation of inherited real estate. Tomorrow's family conversations would not be about Victoria's generous hospitality, but about her criminal behavior and the comprehensive legal consequences that awaited relatives who confused manipulation with inheritance rights. The family relationship between Victoria Rodriguez and me had been built on what I believed was mutual respect and shared commitment to honoring our grandmother's legacy while maintaining close family bonds that had sustained 3 generations of Rodriguez women through economic hardship, cultural adaptation, and personal struggles that had strengthened rather than divided our extended family network. "Alex and I have always been more like sisters than cousins," Victoria had explained to relatives during family gatherings over the years, positioning our relationship as special bond that went beyond typical cousin connections, while emphasizing our shared dedication to family values and grandmother's teachings about loyalty, support, and mutual care during difficult times. Alex and I have always been more like sisters than cousins, with shared dedication to family values and grandmother's teachings about loyalty and mutual care. The narrative that Victoria had carefully cultivated while building trust and emotional connection that would later enable her systematic manipulation and property theft through family relationships and emotional exploitation, rather than legal means or honest communication. During the 18 months when grandmother was declining and eventually passed away, Victoria had been consistently supportive and helpful, spending time at the hospital, coordinating family visits, and ensuring that grandmother received appropriate care and attention from relatives who lived at various distances from the care facility and had different availability for caregiving support. Victoria has been such a blessing during this difficult time, grandmother had often said while appreciating the care and attention that Victoria provided during her final months, never suspecting that her granddaughter's helpfulness was motivated by strategic planning for inheritance manipulation, rather than genuine family devotion and emotional support. Victoria has been such a blessing during this difficult time. The grandmother's gratitude that Victoria had systematically cultivated, while positioning herself as the most devoted family member who deserved special consideration and recognition for sacrifices that were actually investments in future property appropriation and inheritance manipulation. But the warning signs that I had attributed to grief and family stress had actually been evidence of Victoria's systematic study of grandmother's property and estate planning, while she gathered information that would later enable her to challenge legitimate inheritance through legal manipulation and family pressure that exploited emotional vulnerability during mourning period. I've been helping grandmother organize her important documents, Victoria had explained while requesting access to estate planning materials and property records that contained sensitive information about inheritance planning, legal ownership, and financial arrangements that grandmother had made to ensure proper succession and family property protection. I've been helping grandmother organize important documents, the reasonable family assistance that had seemed like appropriate elder care support but was actually strategic preparation for inheritance challenge, through systematic information gathering and document analysis that would enable Victoria to identify vulnerabilities in estate planning and property ownership that could be exploited. The estate planning sessions that grandmother and I had conducted with attorney Patricia Martinez had been kept confidential according to legal requirements, but Victoria had consistently asked about inheritance arrangements while positioning her questions as family concern rather than personal interest in property distribution and financial inheritance that would affect her future security and family standing. It's important for all of us to understand grandmother's wishes, Victoria had said while probing for information about will provisions and property inheritance that would determine family asset distribution, never directly asking about specific bequests, while gathering intelligence that would later inform her strategy for challenging legitimate inheritance through legal and family manipulation. It's important for all of us to understand grandmother's wishes, the family-centered justification that concealed Victoria's personal interest in inheritance outcomes while enabling her to gather strategic information about estate planning that would later support her attempts to appropriate property through manipulation and legal challenges, rather than accepting legitimate will provisions. The will reading that had occurred 3 weeks after grandmother's funeral had been devastating for Victoria when she learned that the Victorian house and substantial property assets had been left specifically to me, while her inheritance consisted of family jewelry, personal items, and a modest financial bequest that reflected grandmother's affection but not the property ownership she had apparently expected. I don't understand why Alex would get the house when I've been the one taking care of grandmother, Victoria had said during family discussions following the will reading, beginning her campaign to position my inheritance as unfair distribution that didn't reflect family contribution and emotional investment, rather than accepting grandmother's legal right to distribute property according to her own wishes and values. I don't understand why Alex would get the house when I've been taking care of grandmother. The family manipulation that began Victoria's systematic campaign to appropriate my inheritance through emotional pressure and family politics rather than legal means, establishing the foundation for property theft that would exploit family loyalty and emotional vulnerability during grief recovery. The transition period following grandmother's death had been emotionally challenging as I processed grief, while managing the practical responsibilities of inheriting a large Victorian house that required maintenance, property tax management, and decisions about renovation and long-term use that would honor grandmother's legacy while serving my personal and financial needs. The house needs someone who can really take care of it properly, Victoria had suggested during family conversations about my inheritance, beginning her systematic campaign to position herself as more suitable property owner, while questioning my capability to maintain the Victorian home that required substantial upkeep, financial investment, and ongoing attention to preserve its historical character and structural integrity. The house needs someone who can really take care of it properly. The family concern that masked Victoria's personal interest in property appropriation while establishing doubt about my suitability as property owner through subtle questioning of my financial capability, maintenance skills, and commitment to preserving grandmother's home according to family values and historical preservation standards. During the first few months of my ownership, Victoria had been consistently helpful with property maintenance and family coordination, offering to check on the house when I was traveling for work, organizing family gatherings in the spacious rooms that were perfect for large group celebrations, and providing advice about renovation projects and historical preservation that honored grandmother's decorating style and family traditions. "I love helping maintain grandmother's house for family gatherings," Victoria had explained, while gradually increasing her time spent at the property, slowly moving personal items into guest rooms and establishing routines that made her presence seem natural and beneficial, rather than strategic preparation for eventual occupation and appropriation through manipulation and family pressure. "I love helping maintain grandmother's house for family gatherings." The family service that gradually established Victoria's presence and authority within the property, while making her eventual occupation seem like natural progression, rather than systematic theft and illegal appropriation of inherited real estate through manipulation and emotional exploitation. But the discovery that would reveal Victoria's true intentions had occurred on a quiet Tuesday morning, when I arrived at the house unexpectedly to retrieve some documents, and found Victoria meeting with a real estate appraiser who conducting comprehensive property evaluation while discussing market values, renovation potential, and sale timelines that suggested planning beyond simple family assistance or property maintenance support. Victoria Rodriguez property evaluation for potential market sale. I had overheard the appraiser explaining while documenting room measurements and structural features that would determine listing value and sale strategy, proving that Victoria had been secretly pursuing property appraisal while concealing her intentions from me and other family members. Victoria Rodriguez, property evaluation for potential market sale. The evidence that Victoria had been systematically planning property appropriation while concealing her intentions through continued facade of family assistance and innocent concern for property maintenance rather than honest communication about her interest in ownership, transfer, or sale proceeds that would benefit her financial situation. The property research that I had immediately initiated through legal consultation revealed that Victoria had been systematically studying property law, inheritance challenges, and adverse possession statutes, while gathering information that would enable her to challenge my legal ownership through technical legal arguments and family pressure, rather than accepting legitimate inheritance distribution. Victoria has been researching property law and inheritance challenges. Private investigator Michael Torres had discovered through digital forensics analysis of her internet activity and legal research that proved systematic planning for property appropriation, rather than simple family concern or innocent curiosity about real estate law and inheritance procedures. Victoria researching property law and inheritance challenges through systematic planning for property appropriation rather than simple family concern. The evidence that transformed family assistance into criminal conspiracy, while revealing months of preparation for property theft through legal manipulation and family exploitation, rather than accepting grandmother's legitimate will, provisions, and property distribution decisions. The family communication analysis that had been conducted through social media monitoring and relative interviews revealed that Victoria had been systematically building support for inheritance challenge while presenting my ownership as temporary arrangement that needed family intervention rather than permanent legal status that deserved respect and recognition from relatives. Family communications reveal systematic campaign to challenge inheritance. Investigator Patricia Rodriguez had documented through comprehensive analysis of Victoria's social media posts, family conversations, and relative interactions that demonstrated organized manipulation, rather than spontaneous family concern about property distribution and inheritance fairness. Family communications reveal systematic campaign to challenge inheritance through organized manipulation, rather than spontaneous concern. The evidence of family manipulation that proved Victoria's property theft was premeditated conspiracy involving emotional exploitation and social pressure, rather than legitimate inheritance dispute or family concern about property, management, and maintenance capabilities. The legal consultation that I had sought immediately after discovering Victoria's secret property evaluation had provided comprehensive understanding of inheritance law, property rights, and criminal penalties for theft and illegal occupation that would protect my legal ownership while ensuring appropriate accountability for systematic property appropriation and family manipulation that violated both legal and ethical standards. The sophisticated legal framework that Victoria had been attempting to exploit involved adverse possession statutes, inheritance challenge procedures, and family property laws that would theoretically enable her to claim ownership through prolonged occupation and systematic establishment of residential rights that could override legitimate inheritance if executed properly and maintained for statutory time periods. Victoria's legal strategy involves adverse possession through prolonged occupation and residential rights establishment. Attorney Patricia Martinez had explained during legal consultation sessions that revealed the complexity and potential danger of Victoria's property appropriation plan. Her systematic approach demonstrates legal knowledge and strategic planning that could succeed without proper defensive measures and proactive legal protection. Victoria's strategy involves adverse possession through prolonged occupation, demonstrating legal knowledge and strategic planning that could succeed without proper defensive measures. The legal analysis that revealed Victoria's sophistication while proving that property theft was carefully planned rather than opportunistic family manipulation, requiring comprehensive legal response and proactive protection rather than simple family mediation or informal property management arrangements. The timeline analysis that had been conducted through property surveillance and family monitoring revealed that Victoria had been gradually establishing residence at my house over several months while documenting her occupation, utility payments, and maintenance activities that could potentially support adverse possession claims if allowed to continue for required legal periods. Timeline analysis reveals gradual residence establishment over several months, with documentation supporting potential adverse possession claims. Legal investigator Daniel Rodriguez had reported during evidence compilation. Systematic documentation of occupation, payments, and maintenance demonstrates sophisticated legal strategy requiring immediate intervention rather than delayed response or family negotiation. Timeline reveals gradual residence establishment with systematic documentation demonstrating sophisticated legal strategy requiring immediate intervention rather than family negotiation. The evidence that proved Victoria's occupation was legally dangerous rather than simple family boundary violation, justifying aggressive legal response and property protection through law enforcement rather than informal family mediation or personal confrontation that might compromise legal standing. But the most shocking discovery had been evidence that Victoria had been working with legal advisors who specialized in inheritance challenges and property acquisition through adverse possession, receiving professional guidance for systematic appropriation rather than pursuing family conversation or legitimate legal inheritance challenge through proper court procedures. Victoria, working with inheritance challenge specialists, receiving professional guidance for systematic appropriation. Investigation coordinator Amanda Torres had documented through professional network analysis and consultation records that proved criminal conspiracy rather than spontaneous family property dispute or emotional reaction to inheritance. Disappointment. Victoria, working with specialists, receiving professional guidance for systematic appropriation, proving criminal conspiracy rather than spontaneous family dispute. The evidence that elevated property theft from family disagreement to organized criminal activity requiring federal investigation and comprehensive legal response through multiple agencies and professional specialties that could address complex property crime and family exploitation. The financial analysis that had been conducted through banking investigation and expenditure tracking revealed that Victoria had been systematically investing money in property improvements and legal consultation while funding her appropriation strategy through personal resources that demonstrated serious commitment to property theft rather than temporary family boundary confusion. Financial analysis reveals systematic investment in property improvements and legal consultation demonstrating serious commitment to theft. Forensic accountant Michael Martinez had reported during financial investigation that proved Victoria's appropriation involved substantial personal investment rather than opportunistic family manipulation or emotional boundary violation that could be resolved through conversation. Financial analysis reveals systematic investment, demonstrating serious commitment to theft rather than opportunistic manipulation that could be resolved through conversation. The evidence that proved Victoria's property appropriation was professional criminal activity rather than family conflict, justifying comprehensive legal response and criminal prosecution rather than family mediation or informal property dispute resolution that might compromise legal protection and property rights. The family manipulation documentation that had been gathered through relative interviews and social communication analysis revealed that Victoria had been systematically building family support for her property claim while undermining my FUS ownership through emotional manipulation and false narrative construction that exploited family loyalty and grief vulnerability. Family manipulation documentation reveals systematic support building and ownership undermining through emotional exploitation. Family dynamics specialist Patricia Morrison had analyzed through comprehensive interview and communication review that exposed organized manipulation campaign rather than natural family concern or inheritance disappointment. Documentation reveals systematic support building through emotional exploitation, exposing organized manipulation campaign rather than natural family concern. The evidence of family conspiracy that demonstrated Victoria's appropriation involved community manipulation and social pressure rather than individual property theft, requiring comprehensive response that addressed both legal and social aspects of systematic family exploitation and property crime. The property security analysis that had been implemented through surveillance and monitoring systems revealed that Victoria had been systematically establishing physical control over the property while documenting her activities in ways that would support legal claims and demonstrate residential authority that could challenge my ownership through possession rights and occupancy documentation. Security analysis reveals systematic physical control establishment, with activity documentation supporting legal claims. Security specialist Daniel Martinez had reported through comprehensive monitoring that proved Victoria's occupation was strategically planned rather than casual family boundary violation or temporary housing arrangement that could be resolved informally. Security analysis reveals systematic control establishment, with documentation supporting legal claims, proving occupation was strategically planned rather than casual boundary violation. The evidence that confirmed Victoria's property theft involved sophisticated legal strategy and professional criminal planning rather than family miscommunication or emotional boundary issues that could be addressed through personal FUS conversation and family relationship repair. The 6 weeks between discovering Victoria's systematic property appropriation and the family gathering confrontation had been dedicated to building comprehensive legal defense while implementing counter-surveillance that would document Victoria's illegal occupation and criminal behavior through law enforcement coordination and property rights protection that would ensure appropriate accountability and legal consequences. Alex's legal response requires comprehensive property protection and criminal documentation. Attorney Patricia Martinez had explained during strategy sessions that prepared both civil litigation and criminal prosecution procedures. Victoria's systematic appropriation provides grounds for multiple criminal charges, while proactive legal response ensures property protection and family manipulation exposure through appropriate legal channels rather than family confrontation. Legal response requires comprehensive protection and criminal documentation with systematic appropriation, providing grounds for multiple charges, while proactive response ensures protection and manipulation exposure. The legal framework that would transform Victoria's property theft into comprehensive criminal accountability, while protecting my inheritance through legitimate legal procedures and professional law enforcement rather than family, politics, or personal confrontation that might compromise legal standing. The property documentation that had been compiled through legal coordination included comprehensive proof of legitimate inheritance, property ownership, and financial responsibility, while establishing clear evidence of Victoria's illegal occupation and criminal trespass that violated property rights and state criminal statutes requiring immediate law enforcement intervention. Property documentation includes comprehensive ownership proof and illegal occupation evidence. Legal specialist Daniel Torres had confirmed during evidence compilation, clear violation of property rights and criminal statutes requires immediate law enforcement intervention, while comprehensive evidence ensures successful prosecution and property recovery through legitimate legal procedures. Documentation includes comprehensive ownership proof, with clear violation requiring immediate intervention, while comprehensive evidence ensures successful prosecution through legitimate procedures. The evidence foundation that would ensure Victoria's criminal activity triggered serious legal consequences while my property rights received appropriate protection through law enforcement, rather than family negotiation or informal dispute resolution that might enable continued criminal behavior. But the most strategically valuable preparation had been coordinating with Sheriff's Department Property Crimes Unit to ensure that Victoria's illegal occupation would be treated as criminal trespass and property theft rather than family dispute requiring civil litigation or mediation that might delay property recovery and enable continued criminal appropriation. Sheriff's Department coordination ensures illegal occupation treated as criminal trespass rather than family dispute. Law Enforcement Coordinator Amanda Rodriguez had confirmed during interagency planning, criminal charges and property recovery proceed through law enforcement rather than civil litigation, while family dispute classification avoided through comprehensive evidence and professional legal preparation. Sheriff's coordination ensures occupation treated as criminal trespass with charges proceeding through law enforcement, while family dispute classification avoided through comprehensive evidence. The law enforcement framework that would ensure Victoria's property crime received appropriate criminal attention while avoiding family dispute procedures that might compromise property protection or enable continued illegal occupation through delayed legal resolution. The timing strategy that had been developed for criminal intervention would occur during Victoria's planned family gathering, ensuring maximum family witness exposure, while demonstrating that property crime carried serious consequences, regardless of family relationships or emotional manipulation, that might otherwise enable criminal behavior through social pressure and family loyalty. Timing strategy ensures maximum family witness exposure during planned gathering. Intervention specialist Michael Torres had advised during coordination planning. Criminal consequences demonstration occurs regardless of family relationships, while social pressure and loyalty cannot enable criminal behavior through witness exposure and public accountability procedures. Timing strategy ensures maximum witness exposure with criminal consequences demonstration regardless of relationships, while social pressure cannot enable criminal behavior through witness exposure. The intervention framework that would transform Victoria's family celebration into educational demonstration of criminal accountability, while protecting other family members from similar manipulation and property crime through comprehensive exposure and legal consequences. The family communication preparation that had been conducted through legal guidance would ensure that relatives understood property crime and criminal behavior rather than family conflict, preventing Victoria from continuing manipulation, while establishing clear legal and ethical boundaries that protected other family members from similar exploitation and property theft. Family communication preparation ensures relatives understand property crime rather than family conflict. Communication specialist Patricia Martinez had explained during family education planning, criminal behavior boundaries prevent continued manipulation while protecting other family members from similar exploitation through clear, legal and ethical education and boundary establishment. Communication preparation ensures relatives understand property crime, preventing continued manipulation while protecting other members from similar exploitation through clear legal education. The family protection framework that would ensure Victoria's criminal exposure served broader family benefit while establishing standards that prevented future property crime and manipulation through education and accountability that honored legitimate property rights. The evidence preservation coordination that had been established through digital forensics and surveillance documentation would ensure that Victoria's criminal activity received appropriate documentation while preventing evidence, destruction, or manipulation that might otherwise compromise prosecution and property recovery through comprehensive monitoring and legal protection. Evidence preservation ensures criminal activity documentation while preventing destruction or manipulation. Forensic specialist Daniel Martinez had confirmed during documentation procedures. Comprehensive monitoring and legal protection support prosecution and recovery, While criminal behavior documentation provides conclusive evidence for law enforcement and legal proceedings that ensure accountability, evidence preservation ensures documentation while preventing destruction with comprehensive monitoring, supporting prosecution, while criminal behavior documentation provides conclusive evidence, ensuring accountability. The documentation framework that would guarantee Victoria's property crime received appropriate legal attention, while comprehensive evidence eliminated any possibility of successful legal defense or family manipulation that might otherwise compromise criminal prosecution and property rights. Protection. The comprehensive surveillance operation that had been implemented through private investigation and law enforcement coordination had documented every aspect of Victoria's illegal occupation, while gathering evidence of systematic property theft, criminal trespass, and family manipulation that would support multiple criminal charges and civil penalties through comprehensive legal accountability. Surveillance operation documented comprehensive illegal occupation evidence supporting multiple criminal charges. Investigation Coordinator Patricia Rodriguez had reported during evidence review sessions that confirmed Victoria's systematic property crime while providing law enforcement with conclusive proof of criminal behavior that exceeded family dispute classification and required serious legal intervention. Surveillance documented comprehensive occupation evidence supporting multiple charges while providing law enforcement with conclusive proof exceeding family dispute classification, requiring serious intervention. The evidence framework that transformed family boundary issues into criminal prosecution, while ensuring that Victoria's property theft received appropriate legal attention through professional investigation and law enforcement rather than family mediation or informal dispute resolution. The financial investigation that had been conducted through banking analysis and expenditure tracking revealed that Victoria had been systematically diverting money from joint family accounts while using shared resources to fund her property appropriation and legal consultation without family knowledge or consent, elevating her crimes to include financial fraud and family asset theft. Financial investigation reveals systematic diversion from joint family accounts and unauthorized use of shared resources. Forensic accountant Amanda Torres had documented through comprehensive financial analysis that proved Victoria's property crime included financial manipulation and family asset appropriation beyond simple property theft or trespass violations. Financial investigation reveals systematic diversion and unauthorized use, proving property crime included financial manipulation beyond simple theft or trespass violations. The evidence of financial crime that demonstrated Victoria's appropriation involved comprehensive family exploitation rather than isolated property dispute, justifying enhanced criminal charges and civil penalties that addressed multiple criminal behaviors and family manipulation. But the most damaging evidence had been audio and video recordings that proved Victoria had been systematically lying to family members about my mental health, financial capability, and family commitment, while building support for her property appropriation through false narrative construction and emotional manipulation that exploited family loyalty and concern. Audio and video recordings prove systematic lying about mental health and family commitment, while building support through false narrative construction. Evidence specialist Michael Rodriguez had documented through comprehensive monitoring that exposed Victoria's manipulation campaign and proved criminal conspiracy involving fraud, defamation, and family exploitation that exceeded property crime. Recordings prove systematic lying while building support through false narrative construction, exposing manipulation campaign, proving criminal conspiracy involving fraud and defamation, exceeding property crime. The evidence of family conspiracy that revealed Victoria's property appropriation was component of broader criminal behavior involving systematic manipulation and emotional exploitation that threatened family relationships and individual reputation through false information and social manipulation. The legal consultation documentation that had been gathered through professional network investigation revealed that Victoria's legal advisors had been providing guidance for criminal activity while knowing that her property claims lacked legitimate foundation, making them potential co-conspirators in organized property theft and family exploitation that involved professional misconduct. Legal consultation documentation reveals advisors providing guidance for criminal activity while knowing claims lacked legitimate foundation. Professional standards investigator Daniel Martinez had reported during legal ethics review that exposed potential professional misconduct and conspiracy charges that extended Victoria's criminal liability to include professional network coordination. Documentation reveals advisors providing guidance for criminal activity, knowing claims lacked foundation, exposing professional misconduct and conspiracy charges, extending liability to professional network. The evidence of professional conspiracy that demonstrated Victoria's property crime involved organized criminal network rather than individual family manipulation, justifying federal investigation and professional sanctions that addressed systematic criminal behavior and legal ethics violations. The family asset investigation that had been conducted through estate analysis and property research revealed that Victoria had been systematically attempting to gain access to other family properties and inheritance assets while using my property appropriation as testing ground for broader family exploitation and asset appropriation that threatened multiple relatives. Family asset investigation reveals systematic attempts to access other properties and inheritance assets using current appropriation as testing ground. Estate protection specialist Patricia Morrison had discovered through comprehensive family asset analysis that proved Victoria's criminal behavior threatened multiple family members rather than representing isolated property dispute. Asset investigation reveals systematic attempts to access other properties using current appropriation as testing ground, proving criminal behavior threatened multiple family members. The evidence of broader criminal conspiracy that transformed individual property theft into family-wide criminal threat, requiring comprehensive law enforcement intervention and family protection rather than individual property dispute resolution that might enable continued criminal targeting. The psychological evaluation that had been conducted through family therapy consultation revealed that Victoria demonstrated systematic manipulation patterns and criminal thinking that suggested ongoing threat to family members, property rather than isolated boundary violation that could be addressed through family counseling or relationship repair. Psychological evaluation reveals systematic manipulation patterns, suggesting ongoing threat to family members. Clinical specialist, Dr. Amanda Martinez had assessed through professional evaluation that proved Victoria's behavior represented criminal personality disorder rather than family conflict or emotional boundary issue that could be resolved through family intervention. Evaluation reveals systematic manipulation patterns, suggesting ongoing threat representing criminal personality disorder rather than family conflict that could be resolved through family intervention. The psychological evidence that confirmed Victoria's property crime reflected fundamental criminal behavior rather than family relationship issues, justifying comprehensive legal intervention and family protection rather than therapeutic approaches that might enable continued criminal behavior and family exploitation. The family dynamics research that had been conducted through sociological analysis and relationship mapping revealed that Victoria had been systematically exploiting family loyalty and cultural values about elder care and property inheritance, while manipulating relatives through emotional pressure and false narrative construction that positioned her appropriation as family service rather than criminal behavior. Family dynamics research reveals systematic exploitation of loyalty and cultural values while manipulating relatives through false narrative positioning, appropriation as family service. Family systems specialist Dr. Patricia Torres had analyzed through comprehensive relationship study that exposed Victoria's manipulation techniques and proved criminal exploitation of family bonds and cultural expectations. Dynamics research reveals systematic exploitation of loyalty and values, while manipulating relatives through false narrative positioning appropriation as service rather than criminal behavior. The sociological evidence that demonstrated Victoria's property crime involved cultural manipulation and family exploitation rather than simple property dispute, requiring intervention that addressed both criminal behavior and family protection from continued cultural manipulation and emotional exploitation. The community impact analysis that had been conducted through neighborhood investigation and social network research revealed that Victoria's property appropriation had created broader community confusion about property ownership, while potentially affecting property values and neighborhood stability through ongoing criminal activity and legal uncertainty. Community impact analysis reveals property appropriation created neighborhood confusion and potential property value effects. Community specialist Daniel Rodriguez had reported through comprehensive neighborhood study that proved Victoria's criminal behavior threatened community stability beyond individual property rights, justifying community protection and law enforcement intervention that addressed broader social impact. Impact analysis reveals appropriation created neighborhood confusion, and potential value effects proving criminal behavior threatened community stability beyond individual rights. The community evidence that transformed individual property crime into neighborhood threat, requiring comprehensive law enforcement response and community protection, rather than private property dispute, that might affect broader social stability and economic security. But the most strategically important preparation had been coordinating with media and public information specialists to ensure that Victoria's criminal exposure would serve educational purposes about property, crime, and family manipulation while protecting other potential victims from similar exploitation through public awareness and criminal accountability. Media coordination ensures criminal exposure, serves educational purposes about property crime, while protecting potential victims through public awareness. Public information specialist Amanda Martinez had planned during publicity coordination that would transform Victoria's family humiliation into community education and criminal prevention that served broader social benefit. Media coordination ensures exposure, serves educational purposes, while protecting potential victims through public awareness, transforming family humiliation into community education and prevention. The public education framework that would ensure Victoria's criminal accountability served broader social benefit while establishing standards for property protection and family boundary enforcement that prevented similar criminal behavior through community awareness and legal accountability. The victim services coordination that had been established through community support and legal assistance programs would ensure that family members affected by Victoria's manipulation received appropriate counseling and support, while understanding their rights and legal protections against similar exploitation and criminal targeting through family relationships. Victim services coordination ensures family members receive appropriate counseling and legal protection understanding. Victim advocate Michael Torres had arranged through community support programs that would address family trauma and manipulation effects, while providing education about legal rights and protection from similar criminal behavior and family exploitation. Victim services ensures family members receive counseling and protection, understanding, addressing trauma effects while providing education about legal rights and protection from similar criminal behavior. The family support framework that would ensure Victoria's criminal behavior created opportunities for family healing and education, rather than lasting division or trauma that might otherwise compromise family relationships and individual recovery from manipulation and exploitation. The law enforcement training coordination that had been arranged through Sheriff's Department education programs would use Victoria's case as training example for property crime and family manipulation recognition, while improving law enforcement response to similar criminal behavior and family exploitation that often went unrecognized or misclassified as civil disputes. Law enforcement training uses case as example for property crime recognition, while improving response to similar criminal behavior. Training coordinator Patricia Rodriguez had arranged through professional development programs that would transform Victoria's criminal case into law enforcement education that protected future victims and improved criminal justice. Response to family property crime. Training uses case as example for crime recognition while improving response, transforming criminal case into law enforcement education, protecting future victims and improving criminal justice response. The professional development framework that ensured Victoria's criminal accountability served broader justice system improvement while establishing standards for recognizing and responding to family property crime that often escaped appropriate legal attention through misclassification or inadequate investigation. The legal precedent coordination that had been established through attorney collaboration and legal research would ensure that Victoria's case contributed to property law development and family crime recognition, while establishing legal standards that protected property rights and family relationships from systematic criminal exploitation and manipulation. Legal precedent coordination ensures case contributes to property law development, while establishing standards protecting rights and relationships from criminal exploitation. Legal research specialist Daniel Martinez had coordinated through professional legal network that would transform individual criminal case into legal system improvement and property protection advancement. Precedent coordination ensures case contributes to law development while establishing standards protecting rights from criminal exploitation, transforming individual case into legal system improvement. The legal development framework that would ensure Victoria's criminal prosecution served broader legal system advancement while establishing precedents that protected property rights and family relationships from future criminal targeting through systematic manipulation and exploitation. The morning of Victoria's planned family gathering had arrived with perfect timing, as sheriff's deputies finalized arrest warrant preparation while I completed final documentation review that would ensure Victoria's illegal occupation and criminal behavior received immediate law enforcement attention through coordinated intervention that would protect family members while demonstrating serious consequences for property crime and family manipulation. Sheriff's deputies finalized arrest warrant preparation with coordinated intervention, protecting family members while demonstrating consequences for property crime. Law enforcement coordinator Amanda Torres had confirmed during morning briefing that occurred while Victoria prepared family celebration, believing she had successfully appropriated my property without legal consequences or criminal accountability. Deputies finalized warrant preparation with coordinated intervention, protecting family while demonstrating consequences for property crime occurring, while Victoria prepared celebration believing successful appropriation. The law enforcement readiness that would transform Victoria's triumph into comprehensive criminal accountability, while providing family members with educational demonstration of legal protection and criminal consequences that honored property rights and family boundary enforcement. The family notification protocol that had been established through victim services and legal coordination ensured that relatives attending Victoria's gathering would receive appropriate explanation and support during criminal intervention, while understanding legal procedures and family protection rather than experiencing traumatic surprise or confusion about law enforcement presence. Family notification protocol ensures relatives receive appropriate explanation and support during intervention, while understanding legal procedures. Victim Services Specialist Patricia Martinez had arranged during family protection planning that prioritized relative well-being, while ensuring criminal accountability and property protection through comprehensive support and clear communication about legal processes. Notification protocol ensures relatives receive explanation and support while understanding procedures, prioritizing well-being while ensuring accountability and protection through comprehensive support and clear communication. The family protection framework that would ensure criminal intervention served family education and healing rather than creating additional trauma or confusion that might otherwise compromise family relationships and individual understanding of legal boundaries and property rights protection. But the most satisfying preparation had been final property documentation review that confirmed comprehensive evidence of legitimate ownership while Victoria's criminal behavior was documented through surveillance, financial analysis, and legal investigation that would eliminate any possibility of successful criminal defense or continued family manipulation. Final documentation review confirms comprehensive ownership evidence, while criminal behavior documented through surveillance and investigation, eliminating possibility of successful defense. Legal review specialist Michael Rodriguez had verified during evidence compilation that proved Victoria's appropriation would result in inevitable criminal conviction and civil liability that served justice and property protection. Documentation review confirms comprehensive ownership evidence with criminal behavior documented, eliminating possibility of successful defense. Proving appropriation would result in inevitable conviction serving justice. The evidence confirmation that guaranteed Victoria's criminal behavior would receive appropriate legal consequences, while comprehensive documentation protected my property rights through professional legal preparation and law enforcement coordination that exceeded Victoria's defensive capabilities. The media preparation that had been coordinated through public information and community education specialists would ensure that Victoria's criminal exposure received appropriate publicity while serving educational purposes about property crime recognition and family manipulation prevention that protected potential victims and improved community awareness. Media preparation ensures criminal exposure receives appropriate publicity while serving educational purposes about crime recognition and manipulation prevention. Media specialist Daniel Martinez had coordinated during community education planning that would transform individual criminal case into public education and victim protection that served broader social benefit. Media preparation ensures exposure receives publicity while serving educational purposes, transforming individual criminal case into public education and victim protection, serving broader social benefit. The community education framework that would ensure Victoria's criminal accountability influenced community awareness and victim protection, rather than simply serving individual justice or property recovery that might otherwise limit social impact and educational opportunity. The psychological preparation that had been completed through therapeutic consultation enabled emotional strength and professional composure during confrontation, while maintaining focus on legal procedures and family protection rather than emotional retaliation or personal vindication that might compromise legal standing or family healing processes. Psychological preparation enables emotional strength and professional composure during confrontation, while maintaining focus on legal procedures. Therapeutic specialist Dr. Amanda Rodriguez had confirmed during final counseling session that prepared comprehensive response to family crisis, while prioritizing legal resolution and community protection over personal emotional satisfaction or vindictive behavior. Psychological preparation enables emotional strength and composure while maintaining focus on legal procedures, preparing comprehensive response while prioritizing legal resolution and community protection over satisfaction or vindication. The therapeutic foundation that would ensure criminal intervention serve justice and family protection rather than personal revenge, while maintaining professional standards and legal procedure focus that honored property rights and criminal accountability through legitimate legal channels. As morning progressed and Victoria completed party preparation, believing she had successfully stolen my house while family members traveled to attend her celebration of property appropriation, I felt profound confidence knowing that comprehensive legal preparation would convert her moment of apparent triumph into comprehensive criminal accountability and family education that served justice and community protection. As Victoria completed preparation, believing successful theft while family traveled to attend her celebration, comprehensive legal preparation would convert apparent triumph into criminal accountability serving justice. The strategic transformation that would ensure her criminal behavior received appropriate consequences while family members received education about property rights and legal protection through dramatic demonstration of criminal accountability and legal procedure that honored legitimate property ownership and family boundary enforcement. The family gathering itself had been unfolding exactly as Victoria had planned until the moment when sheriff's deputies arrived at my property with arrest warrants and eviction orders, while 20 relatives witnessed the dramatic revelation that they had been attending a celebration of criminal behavior rather than legitimate family hospitality and property inheritance celebration. Sheriff's Department. We have arrest warrants for Victoria Rodriguez and court orders for immediate property eviction, Deputy Patricia Morrison announced while presenting legal documentation that eliminated Victoria's confident assumption and revealed to shocked family members that they had been manipulated into supporting criminal property appropriation rather than legitimate family gathering. Sheriff's Department with arrest warrants and court orders for immediate eviction, eliminating confident assumption and revealing to shocked family that they had been manipulated into supporting criminal appropriation. The law enforcement intervention that transformed Victoria's family celebration into criminal accountability, while providing relatives with immediate education about property crime and legal consequences that honored legitimate ownership and criminal justice procedures. The evidence presentation that followed included comprehensive documentation of Victoria's illegal occupation, systematic property theft, and criminal conspiracy, while proving to witnessing family members that her property claims lacked any legitimate foundation and constituted systematic criminal behavior, requiring immediate legal intervention and comprehensive to French HC's accountability. Evidence documentation proves illegal occupation and systematic property theft, constituting criminal behavior requiring immediate legal intervention. Prosecutor Daniel Martinez announced while presenting legal evidence that eliminated any possibility of family members continuing to support Victoria's criminal behavior through misunderstanding or manipulation about property ownership and legal rights. Evidence proves illegal occupation and systematic theft constituting criminal behavior, while eliminating possibility of family support through misunderstanding about ownership and legal rights. The legal evidence that provided family education about property crime, while demonstrating that criminal behavior could not be excused through family relationships or emotional manipulation that might otherwise enable continued criminal activity and property appropriation. But the most devastating moment for Victoria came when family members realized they had been systematically manipulated and lied to while their genuine concern for grandmother's property and family legacy had been exploited to support criminal behavior rather than legitimate family care and property stewardship that honored cultural values and family traditions. Family members realized systematic manipulation and lies, while genuine concern had been exploited to support criminal behavior. Family dynamics specialist Amanda Torres observed during intervention documentation that recorded family trauma and manipulation exposure while providing immediate support and education about healthy family boundaries and legal protection. Family members realized systematic manipulation while genuine concern had been exploited to support criminal behavior, providing immediate support and education about healthy boundaries and legal protection. The family education that transformed criminal exposure into healing opportunity, while establishing clear understanding of legal boundaries and property rights that prevented future manipulation and criminal exploitation through family, relationships, and emotional pressure. The arrest procedure itself had been conducted with appropriate dignity and professionalism, while ensuring that family members understood criminal justice procedures and legal consequences without unnecessary trauma or family relationship damage that might otherwise compromise healing and boundary establishment that served long-term family health and legal compliance. Arrest procedure conducted with dignity, while ensuring family understanding of criminal justice procedures without unnecessary trauma. Victim Services Coordinator Michael Rodriguez reported during family support evaluation that prioritized relative well-being while maintaining appropriate criminal accountability and legal consequence that honored both justice and family healing processes. Arrest conducted with dignity while ensuring family understanding without unnecessary trauma. Prioritizing well-being while maintaining accountability, honoring both justice and family healing processes. The intervention framework that demonstrated criminal accountability could serve family protection and education rather than creating additional trauma or division that might otherwise compromise family relationships and individual recovery from manipulation and criminal targeting. The property recovery process that followed Victoria's arrest included immediate lock changes and security restoration, while family members received explanation about legitimate property ownership and legal procedures that protected property rights through appropriate legal channels rather than family politics or emotional manipulation that might compromise legal standards. Property recovery includes immediate security restoration, while family receives explanation about legitimate ownership and legal procedures. Property specialist Patricia Rodriguez confirmed during recovery documentation that established clear legal boundaries while providing family education about property rights and legal protection that prevented future criminal targeting and manipulation. Property recovery includes security restoration, while family receives explanation about legitimate ownership, providing education about rights and protection, preventing future criminal targeting and manipulation. The property protection framework that ensured criminal intervention resulted in comprehensive security and family education, rather than temporary resolution that might otherwise enable future criminal behavior or family exploitation through continued manipulation and boundary violation. As Victoria was transported to county jail while family members processed comprehensive revelation of criminal behavior and systematic manipulation, I felt profound relief knowing that legal justice had been served while family relationships could begin healing through honest communication and clear boundary establishment that honored both individual rights and family values. The immediate aftermath of Victoria's arrest and criminal charges had created comprehensive transformation throughout our extended family, as relatives processed the reality that they had been systematically manipulated while supporting criminal behavior rather than legitimate family property, stewardship, and cultural value preservation that honored grandmother's legacy and property ownership wishes. Victoria Rodriguez has been charged with criminal trespass, property theft, financial fraud, and conspiracy. Prosecutor Amanda Martinez announced during media briefing that provided public education about property crime while establishing legal precedent for family manipulation and criminal accountability that served community protection, victim rights advocacy. Victoria charged with criminal trespass, property theft, financial fraud, and conspiracy providing public education about property crime while establishing precedent for family manipulation and accountability. The criminal charges that ensured comprehensive legal consequences while transforming individual property crime into educational demonstration of legal protection and criminal justice procedures that served community benefit and victim advocacy. The family counseling services that had been immediately implemented through victim support and therapeutic intervention provided relatives with professional assistance for processing manipulation trauma while understanding healthy family boundaries and legal protection that prevented future exploitation and criminal targeting through family relationships and emotional pressure. Family counseling services provide professional assistance for processing manipulation trauma while understanding healthy boundaries. Therapeutic coordinator Dr. Patricia Torres had arranged through comprehensive family support that prioritized healing and education, rather than division or ongoing conflict that might otherwise compromise family relationships and individual recovery. Counseling services provide assistance for processing trauma while understanding healthy boundaries, prioritizing healing and education, rather than division, compromising relationships and individual recovery. The family support framework that ensured criminal accountability served family healing and education, rather than creating lasting damage or division that might otherwise limit family relationship repair and individual emotional recovery from manipulation and exploitation. But the most significant outcome had been family recognition that Victoria's criminal behavior had threatened not just my property rights but the integrity of family relationships and cultural values that depended on honesty, respect, and legal compliance, rather than manipulation and criminal exploitation that corrupted family bonds and community trust. Family recognition that criminal behavior threatened integrity of relationships and cultural values depending on honesty rather than manipulation, corrupting bonds. Family systems specialist Michael Rodriguez observed during family dynamics evaluation that documented positive outcome and boundary establishment that strengthened rather than weakened family connections through honesty and legal compliance. Recognition that criminal behavior threatened integrity of relationships and values depending on honesty rather than manipulation, strengthening connections through honesty and legal compliance. The family transformation that demonstrated criminal accountability could serve family strengthening rather than division when based on legal justice and honest communication that honored both individual rights and family relationships. Through appropriate boundary enforcement. The property restoration process that had been completed through legal coordination and security improvement included comprehensive home renovation and family gathering space restoration that honored grandmother's legacy, while establishing clear ownership and family access boundaries that prevented future manipulation and criminal targeting. Property restoration includes comprehensive renovation and gathering space restoration, honoring grandmother's legacy while establishing clear ownership boundaries. Property coordinator Daniel Martinez reported during restoration documentation that proved legitimate ownership could serve family benefit while maintaining appropriate legal protection and boundary enforcement. Property restoration includes renovation, honoring grandmother's legacy while establishing clear ownership boundaries, proving legitimate ownership could serve family benefit while maintaining protection and boundary enforcement. The property transformation that demonstrated individual ownership rights could support family relationships when based on legal protection and honest communication, rather than manipulation or criminal appropriation that threatened both property rights and family integrity. The community impact evaluation that had been conducted through neighborhood analysis and social network research revealed that Victoria's criminal accountability had improved community awareness about property crime while establishing neighborhood standards for legal compliance and mutual respect that strengthened community relationships and property protection. Community impact evaluation reveals criminal accountability, improved awareness about property crime while establishing neighborhood standards for legal compliance. Community specialist Amanda Rodriguez reported during social impact analysis that proved individual criminal case could serve broader community benefit through education and legal precedent establishment. Impact evaluation reveals accountability, improved awareness while establishing neighborhood standards, proving individual criminal case could serve broader community benefit through education and precedent establishment. The community transformation that ensured Victoria's criminal consequences served social education and protection rather than individual vindication, while establishing standards for property protection and legal compliance that benefited entire neighborhood and community relationships. The legal precedent establishment that had been achieved through Victoria's case provided comprehensive framework for recognizing and prosecuting family property crime, while protecting victims from manipulation and ensuring appropriate criminal accountability that honored both property rights and family relationship protection through legal justice and community support. Legal precedent establishment provides comprehensive framework for recognizing and prosecuting family property crime while protecting victims. Legal development specialist Patricia Martinez confirmed during precedent documentation that transformed individual criminal case into legal system advancement and victim protection improvement that served broader justice and community safety. Precedent establishment provides framework for recognizing and prosecuting family crime while protecting victims, transforming individual case into legal system advancement, serving broader justice and community safety. The legal development that ensured Victoria's criminal accountability influenced broader justice system improvement while establishing protection standards for property rights and family relationships that prevented similar criminal behavior through comprehensive legal framework and community awareness. The 6 months following Victoria's criminal conviction and sentencing had established comprehensive recovery, while demonstrating that family relationships could strengthen through honest communication and legal boundary enforcement, rather than weakening through criminal accountability and justice procedures that honored both individual rights and community protection through appropriate legal consequences and family healing. Victoria Rodriguez has been sentenced to 18 months in county jail for property theft and criminal conspiracy. Judge Patricia Rodriguez announced during sentencing proceedings that concluded criminal prosecution while establishing legal precedent for family property crime and providing closure that enabled family healing and relationship restoration through justice and accountability. Victoria sentenced to 18 months for property theft and conspiracy, concluding prosecution, while establishing precedent for family property crime and providing closure, enabling healing and restoration. The criminal sentencing that ensured appropriate legal consequences, while transforming family crisis into educational opportunity and relationship strengthening, that honored both justice and family values through legal accountability, community support. The property management success that had been achieved through legitimate ownership and family coordination exceeded all expectations while demonstrating that individual property rights could serve family benefit when based on legal protection and honest communication rather than manipulation or criminal appropriation that threatened both ownership and relationships. Property management success exceeded expectations, demonstrating individual rights could serve family benefit through legal protection and honest communication. Property coordinator Michael Torres reported during management evaluation that proved legitimate ownership enabled family gatherings and cultural preservation that honored grandmother's legacy and family values. Management success exceeded expectations, demonstrating individual rights could serve family benefit, proving legitimate ownership enabled family gatherings and cultural preservation, honoring grandmother's legacy. The property validation that confirmed individual ownership rights supported rather than threatened family relationships when based on legal protection and honest communication that respected both property rights and family bonds through appropriate boundary enforcement and mutual respect. But the most meaningful transformation had been personal growth that emerged from confronting family manipulation while establishing healthy boundaries and legal protection that honored both individual rights and family relationships through honest communication and mutual respect rather than emotional exploitation or criminal behavior that threatened family integrity. Personal growth emerged from confronting manipulation while establishing healthy boundaries, honoring individual rights and family relationships through honest communication. Personal development specialist, Dr. Amanda Martinez observed during therapeutic evaluation that documented positive outcome and emotional strength that served both individual well-being and family relationship improvement. Personal growth emerged from confronting manipulation while establishing healthy boundaries, honoring rights and relationships through honest communication, documenting positive outcome, serving both well-being and relationship improvement. The individual transformation that proved family crisis could serve personal development and relationship strengthening when addressed through legal justice and therapeutic support that honored both individual healing and family relationship preservation through healthy boundary establishment. The family relationship restoration that had been achieved through counseling and honest communication demonstrated that criminal accountability could serve family healing rather than division, when based on legal justice and mutual respect, that acknowledged wrongdoing while supporting relationship, repair and boundary establishment that protected family integrity. Family relationship restoration achieved through counseling demonstrates criminal accountability could serve healing rather than division through legal justice and mutual respect. Family therapy coordinator Daniel Rodriguez reported during relationship evaluation that proved justice and family healing could coexist through appropriate legal consequences and therapeutic support. Relationship restoration demonstrates accountability could serve healing rather than division through justice and mutual respect, proving justice and family healing could coexist through legal consequences and therapeutic support. The family healing that confirmed criminal justice procedures could strengthen rather than damage family relationships when combined with therapeutic support and honest communication that addressed wrongdoing while preserving family bonds through healthy boundary enforcement. The community leadership role that had developed through property crime advocacy and victim support provided opportunities to educate other families about legal protection, while sharing strategies for recognizing manipulation and preventing criminal targeting through community awareness and family boundary education that served broader social protection and victim advocacy. Community leadership role developed through advocacy provides opportunities to educate families about legal protection, while sharing strategies for recognizing manipulation. Community coordinator Amanda Torres reported during outreach evaluation that transformed personal criminal case into community education and victim protection that served broader social benefit and family safety. Leadership role provides opportunities to educate families about protection while sharing strategies, transforming personal criminal case into community education and victim protection serving broader social benefit. The community impact that converted individual criminal victimization into community protection and education, while demonstrating that criminal accountability could serve broader social benefit through victim advocacy and family education, that protected vulnerable community members from similar criminal targeting. The romantic relationship that had developed with prosecutor Patricia Martinez during legal proceedings had evolved into authentic partnership based on mutual respect for legal justice and family values, rather than emotional dependency, professional convenience that might compromise individual achievement and personal development through healthy relationship building and shared commitment to justice. Romantic relationship developed with prosecutor evolved into authentic partnership based on mutual respect for legal justice. Relationship specialist Michael Rodriguez observed during personal evaluation that documented positive relationship development based on shared values and professional respect rather than emotional dependency or convenience that might limit individual growth. Relationship developed into authentic partnership based on mutual respect for legal justice, documenting positive development based on shared values and professional respect rather than dependency limiting individual growth. The relationship foundation that proved personal connections could strengthen during legal crisis when based on mutual respect and shared values, rather than emotional dependency or professional convenience that might otherwise compromise individual development and authentic partnership building through honest communication and legal justice commitment. As family relationships continued healing, while Victoria served criminal sentence that provided opportunity for rehabilitation and boundary learning, I understood that property crime and family manipulation had ultimately provided catalyst for discovering authentic family strength and legal protection that honored both individual rights and family relationships through justice and community support. The 2 years that had passed since Victoria's criminal conviction and the transformation of our family dynamics into healthier relationships based on legal boundaries and honest communication had created comprehensive legacy that demonstrated how family crisis could become catalyst for positive change when addressed through legal justice and community support, rather than enabling criminal behavior or family manipulation. Family crisis transformation into healthier relationships demonstrates positive change through legal justice and community support, rather than enabling criminal behavior. Family systems researcher Dr. Patricia Torres documented during longitudinal study that established our family recovery as model for addressing property crime and manipulation through therapeutic intervention and legal accountability. Family crisis transformation demonstrates positive change through legal justice and community support, rather than enabling criminal behavior, establishing family recovery as model for addressing property crime. The academic recognition that honored family healing while establishing our experience as educational framework for property crime recovery and family relationship restoration that influenced community support and therapeutic intervention, programs for similar criminal cases and family manipulation. The property stewardship success that had been achieved through legitimate ownership and family coordination had exceeded all expectations while establishing grandmother's Victorian house as gathering place that honored cultural values and family traditions through legal protection and honest communication rather than criminal appropriation or family manipulation that might compromise property integrity and family relationships. Property stewardship success exceeded expectations, establishing grandmother's house as gathering place, honoring cultural values through legal protection and honest communication. Property heritage specialist Michael Rodriguez reported during historical preservation evaluation that proved individual ownership could serve family legacy and community benefit when based on appropriate legal foundation and cultural night respect. Stewardship success exceeded expectations. Establishing house as gathering place, honoring cultural values, proving individual ownership could serve family legacy and community benefit through legal foundation. The property validation that demonstrated legitimate ownership rights supported rather than threatened family traditions when protected through legal justice and honest communication that respected both property rights and cultural heritage through appropriate stewardship and community involvement. But the most profound transformation had been understanding that Victoria's criminal behavior had ultimately revealed family strength and legal resilience that might never have been developed through traditional family dynamics where manipulation and boundary violations were tolerated, rather than addressed through appropriate legal protection and therapeutic intervention that honored both individual rights and family integrity. Victoria's criminal behavior revealed family strength and legal resilience that might never have developed through traditional dynamics, tolerating manipulation rather than addressing through appropriate protection. Resilience specialist Dr. Amanda Martinez reflected during family strength evaluation that documented positive outcome and growth that exceeded pre-crisis family functioning and relationship quality. Criminal behavior revealed family strength and resilience that might never have developed through traditional dynamics, tolerating manipulation rather than addressing through appropriate protection, documenting positive outcome. The family development that proved crisis intervention could serve family strengthening rather than division, when addressed through legal justice and therapeutic support that honored both individual healing and family relationship, preservation through healthy boundary, establishment, and mutual respect. The community advocacy program that had been established through victim services and legal education provided comprehensive resources for families facing property crime while creating institutional support that protected vulnerable community members from manipulation and criminal targeting through education and legal assistance that served broader social protection and justice advancement. Community advocacy program provides comprehensive resources for families facing property crime while creating institutional support, protecting vulnerable members. Advocacy coordinator Daniel Martinez reported during program evaluation that transformed individual criminal case into community protection and education that served broader social benefit through victim advocacy and legal protection. Advocacy program provides comprehensive resources while creating institutional support, protecting vulnerable members, transforming individual criminal case into community protection, serving broader social benefit through victim advocacy. The community impact that ensured Victoria's criminal accountability served broader social benefit while establishing protection standards for property rights and family relationships that prevented similar criminal behavior through comprehensive legal framework and community awareness. Education. The speaking engagements and professional consultations that had developed through legal advocacy and victim support provided opportunities to educate law enforcement and legal professionals about family property crime while sharing strategic approaches for recognizing manipulation and ensuring appropriate criminal accountability that served justice and victim protection. Speaking engagements provide opportunities to educate law enforcement about family property crime, while sharing approaches for recognizing manipulation and ensuring accountability. Education specialist Amanda Torres reported during outreach evaluation that converted personal criminal case into professional education and victim protection that influenced law enforcement training and legal procedure improvement. Speaking engagements provide opportunities to educate law enforcement while sharing approaches, converting personal criminal case into professional education, influencing law enforcement training and legal procedure improvement. The professional development that transformed individual criminal victimization into legal system improvement, while demonstrating that victim advocacy could serve broader justice advancement through education and professional training that protected future victims from similar criminal targeting. The Family Healing Foundation that had been established through therapeutic support and legal advocacy provided ongoing resources for families affected by property crime while creating institutional framework that honored both individual rights and family relationships through legal justice, and community support that served healing and prevention, rather than division or ongoing conflict. Family Healing Foundation provides ongoing resources while creating institutional framework, honoring individual rights and family relationships through legal justice and community support. Foundation Coordinator Patricia Martinez reported during impact evaluation that demonstrated individual criminal case could serve lasting social benefit through institutional development and community protection. Healing Foundation provides ongoing resources while creating institutional framework, honoring rights and relationships through legal justice, demonstrating individual case could serve lasting social benefit through institutional problem development. The institutional legacy that transformed personal property crime into comprehensive community support, while ensuring that Victoria's criminal behavior ultimately served positive social change through family healing and legal protection that influenced community standards and victim advocacy programs. As I reflected on complete transformation that had occurred through legal response to Victoria's criminal behavior, while family relationships flourished through honest communication and healthy boundaries, I understood that property crime and family manipulation had ultimately provided catalyst for discovering authentic family strength and community connection that exceeded any previous relationship or personal development. The Victorian house that Victoria had tried to steal through criminal manipulation had become symbol of authentic family legacy, while serving reminder that property rights and family relationships could coexist when protected through legal justice and honest communication that honored both individual rights and family values through appropriate boundary enforcement and mutual respect. In the end, Victoria's assumption that family manipulation could override legal ownership had proven as incorrect as her belief that criminal behavior would strengthen rather than damage family relationships through exploitation and property theft that threatened both individual rights and family integrity through systematic manipulation and emotional exploitation. The empty jail cell where Victoria reflected on criminal consequences now served reminder that property crime carried serious legal accountability, while family relationships required honesty and respect rather than manipulation and criminal behavior that threatened both individual rights and community values through systematic exploitation and legal violation. Justice had been achieved not through family division, but through legal protection that served both individual rights and family healing, while demonstrating that criminal accountability could strengthen rather than weaken family relationships, when based on honest communication and legal compliance that honored both justice and family values through therapeutic support and community protection. Some betrayals reveal that apparent victims possess legal protection and family support that exceed their criminals' expectations, while serving purposes larger than individual justice through community protection and family transformation that honor both individual rights and family relationships through legal justice and therapeutic intervention. The family gatherings that now occurred in grandmother's house celebrated authentic relationships and cultural values, rather than criminal appropriation and manipulation, serving reminder that legitimate ownership and legal protection could support family traditions and community connection through honest communication and mutual respect that honored both property rights and family legacy.